Hey there, and welcome to another edition of An Old Dog in a New Conference. Today I'm going to talk about the Scarlet Knights from Rutgers. They're our next opponent. We play them on Friday night at 5 p.m. our time. It is at their house, Sheffield, and apparently they lay claim to the birthplace of college football. Greg Schiano is their coach. They run a spread offense and a mix between the 4-3 and a 4-2-5 defense. Looks like they maybe run the 4-2-5 more than the 4-3, noticing that their nickelback plays almost all the time. They are led by quarterback Athan Kalakamanis, who started 12 games last year, passing for 1,838 yards, 14 TDs, and 9 interceptions, with only a 53% completion rate. This season, his completion rate is up a little bit to 63%. Watching him play in the Virginia Tech game, he used his legs pretty efficiently to extend plays in the passing game. They like to do like a little play action rollout. Actually saw us run that quite a bit Saturday versus Northwestern. But he's more of a running threat than obviously Rogers is. He's not running all the time, but he sprints out there forcing you to make a little decision, and he dumps it off. Overall, he had a good game. I think he's a quality quarterback. But where their offense really churns is with their all Big Ten first team running back, Kyle Manungai. He is a mighty mite, 5'9", 209 pounds, and he runs with balance, vision, good mix of speed and power. He rushed last season for 1,262 yards and 8 TDs, and he's on the preseason watch list for like Doak Walker and a few other awards. He's a really good running back. I like what I saw from him a lot. On the wide receiver core, it is led by an interesting receiver, Amir Miller, who's 5'11", 180-pound senior who transferred from Monmouth University, where he was a finalist for the Walter Payton Award, which they give to the most outstanding receiver from football championship subdivision teams. So in other words, really smaller colleges. He was very prolific, and in the game versus Virginia Tech, he looked good. He played really well. The tight end is Kenny Fletcher. He's 6'3", 246-pound junior who converted in the bowl game last year from defensive end to tight end. And so he plays tight end. He's athletic and he's kind of aggressive, good blocker. So he's a fun tight end to watch, and he's got as much touchdowns. I think he might be leading the receiving corps in touchdowns. Then there is the offensive line, and this is a very veteran group. 4 of the 5 are seniors, and the other is a junior. 3 of whom were honorable mention All Big Ten recipients last season. And they just are a well-oiled machine. They block really well in the run game. They pass block well. Watching them play against Virginia Tech, and I'm not sure how good the defensive tackles for Virginia Tech, but the defensive tackles from Virginia Tech were physical enough to kind of give them some troubles, but they blocked so well as a unit. They didn't just blow blocks and let people fly through. Somebody's in trouble, somebody scraped over. They just did a good job. I don't know, the run plays were well designed. You see the penetration, but it's where you want the penetration. Then the halfback is sliding the other way, and he's gone for 5 or 6 yards. It's Manungai that's the real threat to the offense behind what is a really veteran offensive line. So when you get to the defensive side of the ball, up front they are led by Malcolm Ray, who is a Florida State transfer, and Keontae Hamilton, both seniors. Both did a really good job, clogging the middle against Virginia Tech. They both looked good to me. I didn't see a lot of disruption out of either one of them, but they held their ground, and they didn't let Virginia Tech run the ball with much success up the middle. On the edge, the defensive end is Aaron Lewis, who leads all the defensive linemen in tackles, and he was also an honorable mention All Big Ten selection last season. The second line of defense is led by senior captain Tyreen Powell. He is 6'5", 252-pound physical guy, and he was a preseason All Big Ten fourth team selection by Phil Steele. He looked good. Then we have the secondary, which is, again, this whole team is veterans, but the secondary, they have their senior cornerback Robert Longerbeam. He's a captain, and he's honorable mention All Big Ten last season. Just a really, really good corner. Athletic, making plays, good tackler. Both the corners looked like they could really tackle pretty well. So they do a good job in run support. And then the fellow senior strong safety, who is Desmond Igbanow's son. And he started 12 games last season. He's doing well tackles this season. He is a strong defender. And the thing that I noticed about this team, they have such a veteran team. 18 of 22 of the starters are either juniors or seniors. And their strongest point was their rushing offense, which currently they are number one in the Big Ten. And their weakest link was their rushing defense, which right now is 16th in the Big Ten. Those numbers don't mean a lot at this point in the game because, we've only played 3 games. I like that right now. I'm looking a little more at what these players did last year even than what they did this year. But all that said, Rutgers is another quality team. They're not 3-0 for no reason. They deserve the wins they got. Virginia Tech may not be a world beater, but they're a solid team. So there's nothing here to sneer at. They're a good team. They're veteran, and it should be another battle. The Dawgs played Northwestern, and I know Northwestern isn't a traditional powerhouse, but that wasn't an easy win, and they got it done. So let's hope we can get all the way over to the East Coast and come out of there with a win. But until next time, go Dawgs.